James Lynch here for Home of Fight. Always great catching up with my next guest, and he's coming off a big win at UFC 311, taking out Diego Ferreira. It is Grant Dawson back here on the program. Grant, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You know, Diego's a tough guy. This fight was like 4 years in the making. I think I was set to fight him three, maybe four times. He backed out twice. I backed out twice. It was a weird, weird situation. So we finally got the fight done, and I'm super happy about it.
Before we talk about your performance, I know you were on. Oh, who's your buddy? Got to mention that.
This is my dog, Caesar. Sorry,
Caesar. Oh no, great name. Great name. That's awesome. That's cool. I love pets. Yeah, I was going to ask you. I know you were actually away last week on vacation. Where did you go? What did you get up to?
So we went to Utah, and the only reason we went to Utah was because my wife's family lives in Utah. I skied for the first time. Absolutely hated it.
Okay. You know what? Funny story. Quickly, I'll just mention this. I live in one of the best places to ski in the world in Whistler, and my brother-in-law came out, and I hadn't skied since I was a kid, and now I can't do it as an adult. So we both have that in common. I am a terrible skier now.
Yeah, I mean, it was not for me, and I had to take like the beginner lessons, and falling a lot, and I just fought this savage fighter, and now I'm falling on my ass trying to ski down a freaking mountain. So it's not for me.
Would you say the mountain gave you more damage than the Diego Ferreira fight?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. So you talked about it there. Obviously, a fight, in the making for quite some time with you and Diego. Diego's a tough guy. We saw that in the fight previously with him getting that upset win. Just your overall thoughts on the performance. I know you would have liked the finish, but you still, won on the scorecards.
Yeah, I look. I always want to finish, but I think I proved a lot to myself in there. It was one of those nights. I was telling my coaches how do I say this? I wasn't nervous in this fight, and I get very nervous before I fight. In all of my fights, I've been extremely nervous except two, and one was Demir, and the other one was Diego. And it was like I just felt like nobody could have beaten me that night. We got into a little bit of a brawl, and I was good. I wasn't panicked. I wasn't scared. I think the things that my coaches are having me do to get used to striking more and to make sure that what happened with Bobby Green doesn't happen again, I think it's working. So I was very happy with this performance. Again, I would have loved to have knocked him out in the first 10 seconds and not have people say I'm a boring fighter. But I think I got something a little bit more valuable out of that 3-round fight with Diego.
Also, Grant, it's King Green now. I think we have to call him that. So just got to make sure we're politically correct here, which I don't get.
Okay, my bad.
No, I'm joking. Obviously, I think I still call him Bobby too. He'll always be Bobby to me, I guess.
His name isn't Bobby at all?
He changed. Like you go on Tapology right now, it's King Green now. Everything's changed to King.
But what does his license say?
I'm assuming it's King. I think he changed everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a
teach their own.
What is that? What is that called? What is that called? When you become the personality that you
maybe I don't know what that is.
Become the persona. It's a real thing. It's like when you become the persona that you play off, Colby Covington used to just pretend to be an asshole, and now he's an asshole.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I can see that for sure. Yeah, just he's becoming the King character, I suppose.
Yeah.
So, just other thing about the fight. Again, you knew a lot about him. This was a fight, like I said, is in the works for a while. Was there anything looking back that did surprise you about him?
It always sounds disrespectful when I say no, but no. I thought he was as tough as he was. I everything that he did, honestly, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I thought it was going to be so much harder to hold him down. I remember telling my dad right before I left for the venue, I was like, hey, don't panic if I can't hold this guy down. We've got contingency plans. We've prepared for not being able to keep him down. We've prepared for what to do if I just cannot hold him down. So just, be ready. And then he was one of the easiest guys to hold down, to be honest. And then I like Diego. I'm not trying to talk trash on him, but I've always was so impressed with his ability to get back to his feet. I think I'm better at holding people down than almost everybody else in this division. Maybe in the sport.
So one of the crazy things that happened on this card was obviously them switching up the main event with two guys that you know quite well in Arman and Moicano. Take me through when you found out about that. Did you know before all of us? I'm sure you did. Or take me through that whole situation as you're about to fight.
I made I made the weight, and I was waiting to weigh in, and I'm sitting next to Moicano, and he goes, "Hey, come here." And I was like, "What's up?" And he whispers in my ear, "Arman is out. I'm fighting Islam for the belt tomorrow." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." He's like, "No, I'm serious." And I was like, "Oh my God." And he goes, "And I think they're going to ask you to fight Dariush." And I was like, "Oh, cool. I'll fight Dariush." But
Okay. Oh,
didn't
interesting.
end up
Okay.
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you know if that was ever a thing about you fighting Dariush instead of Ferrer? Or?
No, I told my coaches, I said, if they call me and ask me to fight Dariush, the answer is going to be yes. So just
Okay.
like
Interesting.
I'm pulling rank here. If they ask me to fight Dariush, I'm going to say yes.
Mhm.
And they just they didn't ask, you know. So it
Okay.
was one of those like the better option is to fight the guy that I was training for
Mhm.
and then call out Dariush. That's the better option.
Yeah.
But if they skip a step and they ask me to do it, I'm going to say yes, I'll do it. And they never called me. They never asked. You know, it was kind of a don't ask, don't tell situation.
Mhm.
We were trying to get my boy Dakota uh, that fight as well
Absolutely.
because he
When's
was
he
there
gonna get
with me.
called, man? You know, it's crazy.
I don't know, man. He's on a 6 fight win streak with two finishes, like two back to back finishes is what I meant. Like you'd think that he'd be getting that call, and I thought we had it this weekend. I thought he was gonna get signed this weekend, but they ended up just scratching the fight, so that sucks.
Mhm. Oh yeah, because they just had another another fight kind of fall apart. So yeah, okay. Well,
Yeah.
eventually, I think at some point we're going to see Dakota in the UFC this year. I think it'd be pretty hard to deny
I
him.
mean, yeah, if he's on a 25 fight win streak, they can't really tell him no, you know. So he'll
Yeah.
get there eventually.
What did you think of the main event? Did you get to watch it after your fight, or did you go back to the hotel? Like, take me. I mean, obviously it sucks for you and the American Top Team because you train with Moicano. But what did you think of Islam's performance in that one?
I mean, dude, I every time I see Islam fight, I think he's beatable. Like, yeah, he's phenomenal. He's great, but like, dude, every win he has a weird little asterisk next to it where he looked amazing against Charles Oliveira. I have no comment there. Then looks terrible against a 45er. A lot of people thought he lost that fight. Not me, but a lot of people thought he lost that fight. Rematches that same guy on 4 days' notice and knocks him out. So good for him. Then fights Dustin Poirier on like 4 weeks' notice when he had a full camp and Dustin only had like 4 weeks to get ready. Uh, then he's like, okay, this is the fight. Like he's fighting a young, hungry, the kid's younger than him. The guy's like mentally strong. He can wrestle, he can strike, he's got great cardio. We're gonna see how good Islam actually is. And then he gets Moicano, who I thought was a more dangerous matchup for him, but on 24 hours notice, like Moicano didn't train wrestling that entire fight camp. The entire fight camp, all he trained was to strike, to strike, to strike. He's going with the good strikers. He's going with the guy, and then he's doing great on the feet. Drops him, looking good, and then just gets caught in a submission. Like every time I truly, and people are gonna hate on me for saying this, I truly believe that if Moicano had a full camp, he would have won that night.
Okay, some strong opinions there. That's good. I know because people get upset when you criticize Islam, and I find his fan base more so than others. So yeah, I mean it'll be interesting to see what people think of this.
Well, it's
Yeah.
so annoying
Mhm.
for everybody else
Mhm.
because it's like if your last name is not Nurmagomedov Sharipov,
Mhm.
like, and you're a grappler in any sense of the word, you're boring.
Mhm.
But because he's got a weird last name and he's from Dagestan, everybody loves it. Like if you look, I am 23-2. And
Mhm.
if my last name was what I just said and I was from Dagestan, everybody would be saying that I'm the next guy. Like he's gonna beat everybody. He's gonna be the next guy. Oh, don't worry. Bobby Green just caught you. Don't even worry about it. You're gonna bounce back, King. But because I'm a straight white dude that loves Jesus and his wife, it's like, oh, he's boring. Like the, I love America, but the one thing that I hate about America is that we don't get behind our athletes.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's because there's other sports out there, and like for example, like you ask most people their favorite athletes, they'll say like a Tom Brady or whoever, right? Like and like whereas like I think in Dagestan, like I don't know how many athletes they have that they can cheer for. It's more like it's more niche, I guess.
My theory, I don't know what other countries really do because I don't really care about other countries, but my theory is that we are so conditioned to compete against each other. We
Mm.
have our high school hates your high school because you're on the other side of town.
Mhm.
Like, and we have, dude, I've literally seen grown men screaming in the face of children wearing a different jersey than them at football games. I've seen it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
Grown men in their 40s screaming at children because they're wearing a different jersey. That's why we don't get behind our athletes,
Yeah.
because you're not from the same state as me, and there's this
Too competitive.
border, imaginary border. That's like it's absolutely ridiculous. It's crazy.
You mentioned Nurmagomedov. We had obviously the co-main event of your card with Merab and Umar. Did you watch that? And what did you think of Merab's win there?
I picked Merab to win. I thought he was going to win. I made a video the day of the fight picking Merab to win, and I was actually quite shocked that he was such a big underdog. Merab has beaten the best of the best. He has beaten like his last. I if I remind me,
Yeah,
I think his
I'll
last like four
Yeah.
were all former world champions.
Yeah.
Like something like that. And he's not beating them, he's demolishing them. And Umar's best win was Corey Sandhagen. Great fighter, great win, but it's like one good win versus what, 8 good wins? Like,
Mm.
come on, man. Like I really thought he was good. I thought what was going to happen is what happened.
Okay. That's fair. So you talked about obviously what's next for you. I know you've mentioned Beneil Dariush. Has there been any update from your management? We've had a week and a bit. Is there any talk about when you might fight next or any opponents or anything like that?
Man, we're really trying to get on the April card in Miami.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to tell you what I want to happen, and then I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen.
Let's hear it.
What I want to happen is me versus Michael Chandler in April in the Miami card. That's what I want to happen. What I think is going to happen is my phone's going to ring in the next 2 months, and they're going to ask me to fight Benoit Saint-Denis. So that's what I want to happen. What I think is going to happen. Both are going to be the answer. Yes.
Okay. Why do you think him specifically?
It's the only thing that makes sense. Like I guess I could see Jalen Turner.
That was
but
another name I was thinking of. Yeah. Because he's in Florida now. I don't know if you know Jalen moved to Florida, right? He's training at I believe he's training at Fusion Excel now.
I've never even heard of that gym.
That's the one that like Mike Davis is there. Who else? There's a couple other fights. I might be wrong about that actually about Fusion Excel, but I know he's in Florida because I saw him in the summer. Left California. He's completely gone. He's in Florida now. I know that for a fact.
Well, he's not training at ATT, so
yeah,
that's the only thing that could have helped him. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I know someone's gonna clip that and send it. No, I'm just joking. They're gonna send it to Jalen. I'm sure.
Jalen's a very good fighter. I actually think he's the most dangerous fighter in our division. He's not the best fighter, but he's the most dangerous fighter in our division. The dude is like 6'12", and he's got arms so long he could scratch his back by reaching forward.
He's
like
so
that's
big,
a dangerous man. That is a dangerous man. But I just don't see him accepting a fight with me. And if he does, good on him. Like, great. I think he's going to fight Fiziev. I think that, and I'm going to be honest with you, I think he beats Fiziev. Like, I think that's what's going to happen. This is all in my head, of course. I have no evidence to back up any of this. But I think Benoit is going to be my next fight. And I'm mentally and physically, I'm prepared for it. Like, I don't want to go to Paris. I'm not going to France. But if they ask me to fight him anywhere else, I will fight him. I'm not going to France, though.
Okay, well, let's back up a bit. You mentioned Michael Chandler. I know you've been very vocal about Chandler and being in the rankings and all that. If you two were to fight, how do you think that fight plays out with both your styles? Because obviously he's got the wrestling and he's got some stand-up as well, too.
He's got the wrestling? He's got the wrestling?
Well, if he uses it, right? If he uses it.
No, he doesn't have the wrestling. He got submitted by Dustin Poirier. He got he got out wrestled by a jiu-jitsu guy. Like, he doesn't have the wrestling. This is why wrestling is so, I don't want to say hate it. Like, this is why wrestling is so hard for people. It's the one thing in this sport that you have to do every single day or you will get worse at it. Like, you can strike twice a week and maintain it. We see guys, especially like at the heavier weight classes, just hit pads and they're like elite level strikers. They just hit pads and spar every now and then, and they're like the best of the best in striking. You cannot do that with wrestling. You have to continue to do it with wrestling. And I think that he's stopped training real wrestling every day. I think he makes I don't think that he actually believes the stuff that he says, and I really don't think he would be that difficult for me to out wrestle.
Okay, Benoit Saint-Denis, how does that one play out? Obviously, you have a lot of insight with Dustin already fighting him.
Yeah, I've got 3 teammates that have fought him. I've cornered against him. Like, I think, I think whoever shoots first is gonna win, and I'm gonna shoot super fast. So I don't know. I see it going a lot like the Moicano fight. I think I'm gonna take him down. I think I'm gonna ride him out, beat him up. Maybe not do as much damage as Moicano, but I think I could get a submission finish, put him to sleep. Like, it is what it is. He's dangerous, but everybody's dangerous in the sport, and I think that that's a fight that the fans would want to see, because like the grappling heavy fans would be excited about that, and the fans that don't like me would probably think that Benoit would knock me out. So I think that's the fight that a lot of people want to see.
And you're ranked again, of course, so that's got some pull, I'm sure, with the fact that you're now number 15. Were you expecting that? What was your reaction to seeing you back in the rankings?
Yeah, I kind of thought, walking back to the locker room, I was going to get ranked. I will make a little bet with you, James. I bet you on March 8th. So March 8th, 9th, so 10th.
March 8th is 313.
I bet you on March 10th, I am unranked.
Okay. Well, I don't think you need to make a bet with me, because I could see that happening. That's just they're very much on, what have you done for me lately type thing. So if someone goes 100%. Out there and gets a good performance, I get it, and I feel for you guys too. Like I am more like the merit guy as opposed to like the let's base things off of like certain performances. So I feel your pain. It's like we talked about this with Michael Chandler last time. Like, to me, if you haven't fought in over a year, you should be out of the rankings. I think they should remember where you were, but I think they should reward activity. That's what I feel like, and quality wins as well.
Yeah. And well, I also think that like number of wins should play a little bit more into it. Like, I've had 12 UFC fights and I've lost one of them. 12.
Yeah.
Like, again, if my last name was Nurmagomedov, everybody would think that I'm the next guy. But like name a person that has 12 UFC fights, has lost one of them, and is probably, and look, I'm complaining about something that isn't even happening.
No. I know. Yeah. No. I
think Rufy is going to knock out Bobby Green, and then they're going to rank him at number 15 and kick me out of there, and he'll have had 3 UFC fights. That's legitimately what I think is going to happen. Like, that's insane.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. I just quickly wanted to get your take sort of on the division as a whole. So obviously Arman had to withdraw from the fight. I don't know if you have any opinion, by the way, on, and feel free if you want to skip this, but obviously there was talk of the back injury and then him maybe having a weight cut and using the back injury as an excuse. Like, what was your take on that? I know he trains at ATT, but I wanted to get your take on the whole Arman situation of him pulling out, and we'll talk a bit after about the title picture.
Well, it definitely wasn't a weight issue. I've heard a couple people say that he was lighter than I was.
I'm glad to hear that, because honestly, I'm so annoyed with all these fans being like, he did a back, he hurt he said it was a back issue because of the weight thing. And then I heard people say he was scared to fight Islam. I'm like, he's already fought him. How is he scared to fight a guy he's already fought?
Yeah. Well, not to mention, it's like, dude, like, what do you have to lose against fighting? Like, I'm scared to fight Islam, so I'm not going to fight him. Okay, then what? Like, what do you mean? Like, you're just never the champion, or you never, like, either way, nothing. No, it's stupid. No, but he was lighter than I was when we got to fight week.
Okay.
So I really do not think that the weight he was lighter than me and Moicano, both of us. So,
okay, well, there we go. You're hearing it from a guy who trains at the same gym, so I would take your word for it.
And I do remember one of his sparring sessions. I thought it was his rib that got hurt, but he hurt something to where he had to stop. I probably misheard. I thought he hurt his rib, but I do remember him having to stop in one of his sparring sessions because something tweaked, and it was like 2 weeks out, and then he didn't spar up until fight time. So I believe him. I think his back really hurt, and I think that if you're fighting the number 1 pound for pound fighter in the world, if you want to say like, dude, I can't fight, that's okay. Like, it definitely was not a weight issue. I'll tell you that. And I don't blame him for, especially a guy like Arman. If you lose that fight, a lot of people don't want to see it for the 3rd time.
That's true.
You're going to have
some history there.
Yeah. You're not going to want to, you're not going to be able to just beat one guy and then get another title shot. You're going to have to beat 5, maybe 6 guys. And in this division, that's hard to do. So I think he made the right choice. If he was hurt, I think that's the right choice. And, not like fuck everybody else that
Well, that's what annoys
so
me is fans just
I didn't
start
mean to
making
cuss on
things
your
up.
show, but like,
No, curse away. But that's what annoys me about, especially the newer fans. They start making things up. It reminds me about the whole. Remember when Paulo Costa got pulled from his fight with Ikram? And everyone's like, "Oh, he's difficult to deal with behind the scenes. They can't book him a fight." And it turns out the UFC just wanted him to fight. I think it was Khamzat Chimaev, if you remember. So that was really the truth, but everyone started making up that he's difficult to deal with. They should cut him. They should send him to Bellator. This reminded me of the same thing where it's like, we don't know if it's a weight cut issue. You're just assuming that because they said back injury and they think that that's like an excuse for not making the weight or whatever. So right. I don't know.
And the thing that upsets me about it, and this is why I think people like are less forgiving on back injuries, is because a lot of people have back pain. Mm-hmm. And I still go to my factory job. I've got back pain. It's like, we are not the same. Like your factory job, dude. I don't know if you know this about me. Like 5 years ago, I had a serious back injury, and I could not train. I remember I went to training the day after because I was trying to tough it out, and I sat on the couch while I was waiting for the training to start, and my back locked up and I could not move for like 2 hours. I'm not making this up. Like I could not move for like 2 hours. Back pain is horrible. I've dealt with it for years, and I finally have gotten rid of it, and I finally have started to be able to push past. But dude, it is so bad, and it's so terrifying. Like, am I gonna wake up tomorrow and not be able to get out of my own bed because my back hurts so bad? Like, and I think that these people that are going to jobs where they sit at a desk or they stand and even work in a factory, it's like, yeah, you can deal with your back pain. Let me put Islam Makhachev on top of you and see how well you do. You know, like, like, dude, shut up, man.
Yeah, no, I agree. Just quickly, so Dana basically said Arman's not getting the shot. Should Charles get it? I think that seems like the most obvious one, but now we're hearing from Islam's manager and whoever else saying that it might not be Charles. I think Charles deserves it. What's your opinion on that?
I disagree. I don't think Charles deserves it. I think that Arman deserves it. I think that Arman will get it.
But we're playing with the rules that he's not getting it, right? Because Dana already said he's not getting it.
If he doesn't get it, I
agree that Arman should be next, especially based after what you told me here. But if we're going by the parameters that Arman will not get it next, to me, Charles is next man up. Or do you wait for Gaethje Hooker?
No, you don't do that. No, absolutely not. He's already beaten Hooker in like 45 seconds, and Gaethje has lost to every good grappler.
It was short notice. Okay, well, anyways, I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay, all right, okay. By that standard, Moicano should get a one win and then get to fight.
Okay,
you know,
I see your point. Yes, well played. That's good.
Yeah, like it's. And dude, Moicano put up a better fight than Hooker did, and Moicano had 24 hours. Hooker had like 4 weeks or something like that. Mm-hmm. No, but I just don't want to see it. Like, is there any question who would win that fight? Like, somebody points a gun to your head and says, who's winning between Islam and those two guys? You're picking Islam. Right. It's not now somebody points a gun to your head and says, hey, it's him and Arman or him and Charles. You're like, oh, crap, this is my life on the line. I better really think about this and really look into this. I better, like, dude, you know, Arman's hard to hold down. Like, dude, Charles has got that guillotine. Like, you're at least going to think about it for a little bit. Like, no, I don't want to see that fight. I'm 100% honest with you. I'd rather see Gamrot or Fiziev fight Islam for the belt. Like, just from a entertaining standpoint, like, I would rather see those fights.
But what do you think will happen? Because I don't think they're going to give it to either of those guys because they're coming off losses. Both of them are.
No, I totally agree. What I think is going to happen is they're going to forgive Arman and he's going to fight for the belt. If that does not happen, then yes, I think Charles will fight one more time.
I knew you'd come around.
Charles is going to fight one more time against Arman, and the winner of that fight will fight.
Oh, okay, Islam.
Interesting. That's what I think will actually happen.
I almost had you there. I mentioned.
Do you want to see Charles versus Islam over Charles versus?
But I think you should reward a champion for defending his title. I guess technically only Oliveira defended one because he had that weird weight miss against Gaethje, right? So I guess he's only really had one title defense, I think. If total, I feel like he had so many good wins leading into the Islam fight that he had a terrible night at the office and he could have fought his best and still lost to Islam, which I think would happen in the rematch. I just think you need to reward those wins that he had when he was champion or when he had the belt, right? Like he beat Poirier, he beat Gaethje, he beat Chandler. Like those were all stoppage wins that were very impressive at the time. And I think he had a terrible night against Islam. I don't think it goes any differently the second time. I do think it would be a bit more competitive though. we've seen Charles since then, in my opinion, fight better than he did that night against Islam. But that's just me.
I mean, but to be fair, isn't he 1-1 since that fight?
Yes. Well, yeah, he beat Dariush and then he lost to Arman, but the
Oh,
Arman fight was close. Yeah.
Excuse me.
2-1
because
Chandler. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
Excuse
Chandler.
me.
As the balloons
I
are
don't
going
know
up.
what's
I know it's
going
a
on with the
filter
balloons.
thing. Anyways, it's fine.
But I agree with what you're saying. And if there is no Arman Tsarukyan, then I say yes, you have my support. Yes, but it's just I just don't see like, dude, he got out wrestled by Dariush and then got up and head kicked him, and then he got out wrestled by Arman, who a lot of people think is a worse version of Islam. I just don't see. Like, I just think we're seeing the exact same fights over and over and over. I'd rather we throw in some new blood just to see what happens, you know?
That's fair. Who wins between Dan Hooker and Justin Gaethje, in your opinion?
Gaethje.
How? Does he finish him?
No, I think he wins a decision. He could finish. Gaethje can finish anybody, but no, I think he's gonna win a decision. I thought that Gamrot beat Hooker, and I don't care what anybody says. I thought he beat him. Gamrot almost knocked out Hooker with a freaking southpaw jab. I think Gaethje's going to be too much for him.
What do you got planned the rest of the week?
My wife is sick, so I'm going to go get her some medicine, and I might stop at a Yu-Gi-Oh shop and see if they have these cards that I'm trying to find.
Oh, cool. You still collecting? You're all into that stuff. You know, my son, who's 7, is starting to get into anime, and I was never really into it growing up, but I think it's like a cool hobby for him to like, because he's like athletic. He plays a lot of sports, but he's like now starting to get into that too. And I'm like, okay, good. He's got some balance in his life. That's great. So
yeah, anime's great too. Like, he what was he watching? Do you know?
What's it called? I feel like that old dad who can't. He's like not in touch with what the kids are watching. It's on Netflix.
It's all good.
It's is it No, what's it called? You know what? I'm going to find out right now. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to log into my Netflix.
Yeah, I'm genuinely curious. I would like to know what kind of
it's
How old is he?
He's 7.
One Punch Man?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's all into
that. That's a good
one. Have you seen it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not my favorite, but yeah, it's good. Yeah.
I'm a little worried because it's like not a kid's thing. Like it's like I think there's some language in it, but I'm like I want to be one of those cool dads as well. So
You in all seriousness, you do have to be careful, because the one thing I hate about anime is you'll be like watching this like, oh, this is a great show. What awesome character development and so cool things. And then just out of nowhere, there's an octopus like trying to molest a girl. And you're just like, what the hell am I watching? Like, I mean, I'm still going to watch it, but like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely be careful on what he's watching.
For sure. And don't have to be careful in these interviews with you, Grant. Always great to get the uncensored thoughts on everything you're feeling these days. Anything you want to mention before we get out of here? As always, I'll give you the last word.
No, yeah, man, guys, just follow me on Instagram. I'm trying to get some more content out there. I'm going to be trying to release some more training videos and stuff like that, so you guys can follow me. But other than that, have a great rest of your day, everybody.